Sailor Moon is the masterpiece that has defined modern magical girl anime. No one can ever forget the impact it has made on the anime community and the message it has given to its viewers. Sprinkled throughout the series is the message of love and individuality. We see this through our main characters and their unique personalities that attract different types of people. It is not just the leads, but also the villains that appear each season. This attraction is because of how much viewers relate to the different characters. Our Sailor Soldiers are not simply girls who are placed into their roles as guardians of the galaxy for no apparent reason. These individuals are selected for a certain reason. Sailor Moon follows the adventures of Usagi Tsukino, who is given the power of a Sailor Guardian. Joined by other Sailor Soldiers along the way, they defend the Earth against an assortment of villains. As the seasons go by, we get to meet even more Sailor Guardians and villains who have a story behind their evil actions. These motives are not exposed until the end of each season, where we learn more about the lives of the girls and the villains themselves. This makes each episode worthwhile to watch because it does give the villains their own story too, showing how good and evil are important pieces to the galaxy as well. Sailor Moon, or otherwise Usagi, is your typical middle school girl who has a clumsy side but has no trouble seeing the good in others and getting them to like her. She starts out very naive and immature, but as the series progresses, Usagi becomes more proactive and grows into her role as a leader. Usagi definitely has the most growth as far as viewers can see, as the series mainly follow her point of view. She never lets her enemies discourage her from the goal at sight, which is to keep the galaxy safe, even if it means the loss of her own life. Sailor Mars, who is known as Ray, is short-tempered and fiery. She is also sensible and polite, but is not a pushover. Although she may come off as harsh and intense, she does value tradition and friendship. Her relationship with Usagi is similar to a rival, but over time we see that both of them come to value each other as best friends. Sailor Jupiter, named Makoto in her civilian form, is very protective of her friends, and is used to being by herself because she was orphaned at a young age. We see a lot of her tough side, but she is a growing girl who is interested in dresses and looking cute. She once dated a senior, but they broke up because she was too tall for him. She does not let this get to her and continues to believe in love. Ami, who is Sailor Mercury, is very intelligent but is very shy and did not have many friends before meeting the other Sailor Scouts. She preferred to spend her time studying and reading books. Many of her classmates believed her to be snobby and arrogant, but once Ami meets Usagi, her true personality surfaces. She remains sweet, kind, gentle, and loyal to her friends, but she also becomes stronger and more confident later on. Minako, also known as Sailor Venus, was protecting Earth before Usagi was found, so she was the first warrior to become an active Sailor Soldier. She is highly devoted to the mission and fought against their enemy alone way before the other sailors came to be. When the other Sailor Guardians regained their memories, she was happy to see her allies again, and to be surrounded by her people once more. There are the other Sailor Guardians from the outer parts of the galaxy named Sailor Pluto, Sailor Uranus, Sailor Neptune, and Sailor Saturn. They also have civilian forms that allow them to be with the other girls, but they have accepted their fate to being protectors within the shadows. At first, they could not truly accept their mission, as it is not easy being placed to the side and not being acknowledged by the people they are protecting. They were lost as to what they should be doing, as Sailor Moon is already protected by those around her. So they would ask, what was their purpose? Their purpose in life was different from the Sailor Guardians protecting Sailor Moon. They were supposed to protect the solar system from outside forces. Sailor Uranus, Sailor Neptune, and Sailor Pluto are often seen together as they are part of the outer Sailor Soldiers. They understand each other's loneliness, and this group sticks together to soothe their feelings of isolation. They are capable of holding their own fights and does not let their emotions get in the way of their mission. Nonetheless, they continue to follow their previous lineage, which is to protect the solar system. Sailor Saturn, in comparison, holds a much different destiny even compared to the outer sailors. as the one called She Who Brings Destruction, holds strong powers associated with silence and ruin, nothingness, destruction, death, annihilation, and rebirth. Saturn is responsible for destroying the remnants of the war-torn Silver Millennium Kingdom, as rebirth cannot happen without death. Thus, the destruction of the kingdom allows a new world to be reborn, as well as for the reincarnations of the Sailor Guardians into the new century. This does not mean that everyone understands the concept of rebirth, so Saturn is always feared for her powers even if it's her responsibility. Even so, Saturn continues her mission to bring rebirth into the world through death. Once Usagi and the team realizes how much their own people have been suffering, they thanked them for their hard work. The Outer Sailor Guardians have felt their appreciation and was glad that they can protect those they cared about. In turn, this allowed all of them to regain a balance between being a Sylvian and a Sailor Guardian. There are many villains in the story, but the most notable ones are Queen Nehelenia, that is with the Dead Moon Circus with the Amazoness Quartet, the Amazon Trio, Queen Beryl and the Four Kings, and Sailor Galaxia. Queen Nehelenia is the purest expression of ambition. Being the ruler of the moon's dark center, she is all about beauty and madness. She comes forth from the darkness of the galaxy and is considered to be the evil queen. She is the malicious vision of queenly power, as she swans around the galaxy with her evil circus to obtain the moon's authority. Her desire for revenge is what drives her to become the enemy of the Sailor Guardians. Going as far as cursing an infant, Nehelenia would not stop until the galaxy is enveloped in darkness. The Amazoness Quartet and the Amazon Trio of the Dead Moon Circus devotes their lives to Queen Nehelenia. The circus is so compelling for its diversity. They're a perfect blend of melodrama, world building, and sheer goofiness. The secret behind Nehelenia's cadet is that the Amazoness are Chibi Moon's future Senshi team, who were awakened prematurely and pressed into service by the evil queen. The Amazons are enchanted animals who are entertainingly petty but goes through a change of heart and would later sacrifice themselves for Sailor Moon. There is also Zirconia, who is the projection of Nehelenia's fears about aging, beauty, and madness. Essentially, this ringleader is Nehelenia, who is unable to obtain eternity and has to learn about the morality of time. Her fears were her downfall, and Sailor Moon's final fight with this evil queen was her greatest achievement. In the end, the Dead Moon Circus is a great reveal to the high wire act of the big-time villainess. Queen Beryl and the Four Kings are the depiction of how obsession leads to corruption of the heart. The queen was once a sorceress who fell in love with Prince Endymion, but her love was unrequited and she became jealous of the prince's relationship with the princess. The Four Kings were made into servants by a malignant being called Queen Metalia. The Dark Kingdom is made up of people who have lost their hearts, allowing evil to take hold. In the 90s version of the anime, which is the main focus of this video, they are people who have never learned how emotions work and follow a life of servitude up till their demise. In the end, all of them lose to Sailor Moon and her guardians. And the reason for this is the power of love that Usagi holds. Usagi never holds any animosity towards her enemies, even when they try to use Tuxedo Mask, aka Mamoru, who is the reincarnation of Prince Endymion, to attack her. This is what happens with Sailor Galaxia, the only rival to Sailor Moon, as she holds the ultimate force of destruction in comparison to Sailor Moon's force of love and creation. Galaxia wants her planet to have all the strongest stars, and thus she causes universal chaos to make herself stronger. She refers to her own planet as trash, believing her powers of a Sailor Senshi as too good for the unknown planet. Her quest to finding a worthy place led her to the solar system where our Sailor Guardians reside. In order to obtain this solar system for herself, Galaxia aimed to destroy Sailor Moon. Galaxia uses every chance she can to make Sailor Moon succumb to anger and despair. This was to allow another force named Chaos to take over Sailor Moon and have their opposing powers destroy them from within. This would leave Sailor Galaxia as the strongest Sailor Guardian. In spite of Galaxia's evil doings, Sailor Moon had saved her and protected her from Chaos's darkness with her own shining light. Faced with Sailor Moon's purity, hope, and love, Galaxia loses her will to fight and loses her own life in the process. This villainess learns that Sailor Moon is the universe's brightest star, whose powers was never meant to be hers to have. Although many of these villains in Sailor Moon have undoubtedly lost their lives in the fight, the audience learns that there were bad choices that were made, causing these people to become the villains we know them to be. Even when these choices are made, Sailor Moon and the Sailor Guardians were there to prove that there is more to this world than their fears and obsessions. The series is not only capable of teaching their young viewers the message of loving themselves, it also teaches us that hard choices will need to be made under the condition of love. To love is to make sacrifices, to do the things that make us uncomfortable, to be able to tell our past selves that things will get better. This is another masterpiece that I think will be forgotten with time, but my generation would never forget this series as it has taught us the message of love and staying true to ourselves even at the darkest of times. To whoever is listening to this, I wish you the best on your endeavors and that you achieve your goals no matter how challenging it may seem at this very moment.